Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to the first part of Mowler's A Critique of Outlast YouTube series. So this is a donation reward request. The reason it's not being counted as like a normal series is because it's a YouTube video series, and that's kind of its own thing, and I get to whenever I get to it, basically. So this is a series about the horror video game Outlast. It is 11 episodes long, and the episodes range from in the ballpark of 20 to 40 minutes long each. So the question is, what do I know of Outlast? Well, I've seen all of Outlast 1 and its DLC Whistleblower, played by various YouTubers, and I've played it myself. And I've seen parts of Outlast 2, like early parts, but never really got too far into it because I just didn't like it as much. So Outlast 1, the first game, was fantastic. It's not like amazing for rewatchability, but it's a fantastic ride, especially when you're blind to it. It has a lot of great scares. It builds tension excellently. It has some really pulse-pounding moments with its enemies. So yeah, it does an amazing job. Now, 11 parts, which with 20 to 40 minutes approximately between them, or each one being about 20 to 40 minutes long. I'm wondering exactly how this guy is going to talk about the game that much. Like, I could probably talk about Outlast quite a bit, but I don't know about that much. But he's probably going to go into very deep analysis about like the lore about the game, the characters, that kind of stuff. And I'm really interested. I hope it's entertaining. I don't think I've seen any of Mowler's stuff before, but I might be wrong. But I hope it's interesting. I hope it's fun and entertaining. Because it would really suck for this to end up being boring or anything. I don't know how he's going to present it either. I don't know if like he's going to be on screen. I don't know if it's going to show a lot of clips or graphics or whatnot. I don't know if it's going to be done in a similar way to like game theory or whatnot. But I am interested in checking it out for sure. Like I said, this was a donation request. So I'm definitely going to not stop watching. I'm not going to drop it unless I really feel like I'm not enjoying reacting to it, unless my interest in continuing reacting reaches below what I prefer to call the 10% line. Even though it's not an actual line or term of measurement here, it's just kind of like, you know, I just have that little interest in continuing, but still. I hope it won't, because again, I do really like this game. I think it's a fantastic horror game, one of the better horror games, honestly. And I really want to see what this guy has to say about it. So, we're just going to get this started. And as I said, we'll get to these, provided I do continue. We will get to these as often as I can, but I'm not going to guarantee like anything specific with that. For the time being, let's just get going though. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. Or, I guess the part. I guess you could call it an episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so this was the first part of A Critique of Outlast by Mowler. So as I said in my pre-thoughts, I don't think I'd seen anything by this guy before. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think I have. And I definitely don't think I have now that I've seen this. I don't recognize him by voice. I don't recognize his editing style. I will say that he came across as excessively pompous and arrogant. Basically, the way he came across is like, oh, I hate Outlast. I'm going to tell you why it's wrong if you don't hate Outlast. I'm going to tell you why all these reviewers who like it, and for whatever reasons, are wrong. That's how he came across. And of course, he didn't say those exact words or anything, but he came across as like he was trying to tell us that we shouldn't like this game and that we're stupid if we do. If I had to compare him to anyone, I'd say I could compare him to Digibro, for the anime reviewing community. Um, if you don't know who Digibro is, he's a reviewer who, in the old days, used to review Milo Pony episodes and stuff, and he's also he done a lot of anime stuff in the past and all, but he kind of moved entirely over to anime and whatnot, um, which is fine and all. But he soon became very pompous about it. He began acting like his opinions are the only ones that matter, and that if he hates a show, that automatically means it's bad. Or if he thinks voice dubbing is bad, which he does, by the way, that automatically makes it bad. If he thinks that a certain art or animation style or a certain storytelling style or et cetera, is bad, that makes it objectively bad. That is how he presents stuff. And even if he doesn't necessarily mean all of that, that is how he comes across. And it's hard to watch a reviewer like that, because it comes across as them like telling you what to believe, and you should never like listen to someone who's telling you what to believe and how to believe it. That's basically the same thing as letting people control your life, and that's not okay. That's not okay by any means. Mauler, at least in this one, felt very much the same. And I'm not saying this because, oh, I disagree with all his findings, just because he doesn't like the game or whatnot. No. I'm saying it because he felt like he was very arrogant regarding his opinions on the game, and is trying to push them as fact. Honestly, I could care less on whether or not he likes or hates the game. That doesn't matter to me. I just don't want him to try and force those opinions down my throat. So it's like, don't do that. Now, he did make some valid points, though. I will acknowledge that. He made some valid points in some of the things he was saying in response to the one dude's, his review. And one of the big things, of course, was the found footage argument. Like, that one guy was, like, arguing, oh, this is, like, the best example of found footage we have in horror games and stuff like that. And it's like, I agreed with Mauler on the fact that, one, no, it's not. Resident Evil 7 definitely is better in terms of that. And two, it's like, I agree with him on his finding that found footage in general wouldn't work as a medium for video games, that they have to twist it in order to make it fit to any degree. I do agree with that. Found footage is fine for movies, even though he seems to have a disagreeing opinion on that one. But it's like, either way, for games, it's not like a valid kind of genre for gaming. It just doesn't work as well. Now, he didn't say too much about the game itself and his actual thoughts on the game in this one. This was more of an introduction to what he's doing. He had some moments talking about, like, what others' thoughts and stuff, but that's about it. He talked about the story, and that was the only part he really ever actually went into about his thoughts on the game itself. And basically, his thoughts on the story were that it didn't make a lot of sense. And the thing is, I could partially agree to that. Outlast story is very out there and very kind of mashed together. It's like a lot of ideas mashed together into one thing. Sort of like Evil Within, just not as dramatic about it. And it's like, a lot of it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. But the thing is, a lot of people don't go into horror games looking for real life logic or anything like that. A person's not playing Outlast wanting to see things that make sense in real life. They're playing Outlast to be scared, to be entertained, to have fun being scared. And most people seem to get that kind of feeling from the game. Yes, there's a lot about the game that doesn't work that you have to really, really just have a suspension of disbelief for. I acknowledge that. But even though the story is definitely a big part of the game, it's not like it's what people are going in for. Let's put it that way. Even though I think more people should go in for the story. My thoughts on the story itself for Outlast is I think it's okay. It was never like the biggest appealing factor for the game, for sure. Definitely the more atmospheric tension and horrific aspects of the characters were. But the story itself, I had no real issue with. Again, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. And it may not have made a lot of sense in every way, but I thought it was like, it did what it needed to do. It gave a backstory for all of this and it was something that worked. Whether it made a lot of sense or not, it worked. And it got you involved. It got you into it. At least from my perspective and from the perspective of a lot of others. We were invested in the story. And it's like, he says he wasn't, and that's fine if he wasn't invested. But again, the thing is, he's trying to paint it as if it's objective fact that the story was bad. And it's like, you're coming across as a pompous, arrogant twat. And it doesn't make you look good when you present yourself that way. Again, even if unintentional. So yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about with this one because, again, he didn't actually go into as much. But I will say that as for continuing this, I am continuing it for now. Because like with any series, this is able to be dropped if I ever feel like my interest reaches below that 10% margin. But as for now, I am continuing it. I do want to hear more of what he says, at least for now, at least for one video. If I end up getting too upset with it or whatnot, then we'll move on at that point. But yeah, it's just, that is my main issue. The way he carries himself, the way he speaks. I will say, though, that the editing is just kind of okay. Like, there's a couple points where he edits in a bunch of these, like, short clips of all of these different Let's Players and whatnot. Like, there's a bunch of clips like them saying Miles up, sure. A bunch of clips of them, like, of their greeting to the channel, a bunch of clips of their the way they open their videos with those little intro animations and stuff. And those go on way longer than they should, and it feels like he doesn't understand pacing. It makes the video feel unnecessarily long, like he's padding it out just to make a certain time limit. And it just feels so off in terms of the pacing of the video because of it. But either way, it's like, just off of this, I would not, like, probably watch this guy just in general on my own time. It definitely does not seem like my kind of review content. But again, for now, I will continue for this series, at least until into the next episode. And again, I will get to that as soon as I can. There's no set time or day for that or whatever. These kind of videos with the YouTube reactions for the YouTube reactions for donation rewards are just like as quickly as I can get to them, basically. So yeah, when I get to it, I will get to it. But tell me your thoughts on this video down in the comments below. And tell me your just initial thoughts on Outlast as well as a game. For now, though, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,